There's a kind of strength that doesn't shout, it doesn't need attention, it just is. Quiet, steady, unshakable. That was Caroline Ingalls. And the woman who brought her to life, Karen Grassle, wasn't just playing a role. She lived it, screen. She was the calm in every storm, the hand that soothed, the voice that said, "We'll get through this." And off-screen, she was just as real. For 9 seasons, we watched her stir soup in the kitchen, mend clothes by lamplight, and hold her children close after a long day. But behind those scenes, there were stories, laughter, challenges, and a bond that turned a TV set into a home. Today, I want to share some of the most heartfelt, fun, and unforgettable moments from Karen Grassle's time on Little House on the Prairie. Not as gossip or trivia, but as a tribute to the woman who taught us what it meant to be a mother, a partner, and a person of quiet strength. Let's start with something that might surprise you. Michael Landon, yes, Charles Ingalls himself, was the class clown. I know, it's hard to imagine. The strong, moral, deep-voiced father of the prairie, a prankster, but he was. And Karen has shared this with a smile. Michael loved practical jokes. He didn't do them to embarrass anyone. He did them to lighten the load. Because making a show like Little House, week after week, season after season, was hard work, long days, cold weather, emotional scenes, and Michael knew that laughter could carry you through. So he'd hide Karen's bonnet, swap her teacup with one full of glue, or once, and this one's still legendary, he tied her, boots together under the table during a quiet family dinner scene. And when she stood up, she nearly fell right into the set. The crew burst out laughing. Melissa Gilbert covered her mouth. And Karen, she didn't yell. She didn't scold. She just looked at Michael with that calm, knowing look and said, "You're going to pay for that, Charles." And then she laughed too, because that was Michael. He wasn't just the star. He wasn't just the director. He was the heartbeat of the set. And his jokes, they weren't mean. They were love. A way to say, we're not just working, we're enjoying this. And Karen, being the grounded, graceful woman she was, played along. She gave as good as she got. And over time, their playful rhythm, him teasing, her calmly putting him in his place, became part of their real-life connection. And honestly, it made their on-screen marriage feel even more real. Because that's what real couples do. They tease, they roll their eyes, they laugh, even when they pretend not to. Now, let's talk about one of the most beautiful relationships on the show. One that wasn't scripted but lived, Karen Grassle and Melissa Gilbert. On screen, mother and daughter. In real life, something even deeper. Because when Melissa started on Little House, she was just 9 years old. And Karen, she became more than a co-star. She became a mentor, a protector, a steady presence in a world that could be overwhelming. Melissa has said it herself. Karen wasn't just playing my mom. She was my mom in so many ways. And you can feel it in their scenes. Watch the way Caroline touches Laura's hair before school. The way she listens, really listens, when Laura talks. The way she stands up for her. That wasn't acting. That was care. And off-screen, Karen made sure Melissa was okay. She checked in. She gave advice. She reminded her to be a kid, even when the cameras were rolling and when Melissa struggled with fame, with identity, with growing up too fast. Karen was there, not with a speech, but with a hug, with a cup of tea, with presence. And years later, when Melissa became president of the Screen Actors Guild, Karen was in the audience, smiling, proud, like a real mother watching her daughter succeed. And that bond, it never faded. Even now, they still speak with warmth. And when fans ask Melissa about her favorite memories from the show, she always mentions Karen, because she wasn't just Ma, she was family. Now, let's talk about something few people know. Karen Grassle had never ridden a horse before Little House. Can you believe that? The woman who rode side saddle in a bonnet, calm as can be, through wind and snow? She was learning as she went, and she didn't want to fake it, so she spent hours practicing. Early mornings, late afternoons, even on days off. She worked with the wranglers, learned how to mount properly, how to sit tall, how to look like she'd been riding her whole life. And you know what? You'd never know she was new to it, because she made it look effortless, and that says everything about her. She wasn't just showing up, she was committed to the role, to the story, to doing it right. And when you see Caroline riding into town, basket in hand, face peaceful, that's not just acting. That's a woman who did the work, and it mattered, because a Little House wasn't about perfection, it was about truth, and Karen brought that in every scene. Now, let's talk about the weather, because on Little House the cold wasn't fake. The wind, real. The snow, not plastic. They filmed in real seasons, and Karen has talked about how filming in harsh conditions made the show feel even more authentic. She remembered one scene, a winter episode, where she had to stand outside for hours wearing a thin dress and shawl. It was below freezing. Her fingers were numb. Her breath was visible. And Michael said, "Let's do another take." And she didn't complain. Because in that moment, she wasn't just playing Caroline. She was Caroline. Fighting through the cold. Holding on. Doing what had to be done. And that's why the show felt so real. Because they weren't pretending to suffer. They were living it. And that shared struggle. The cold, the dust, the long days brought the cast even closer, which brings me to something beautiful. The family atmosphere on set. Karen has said over and over, we weren't just a cast, we were a family. And you can feel it, not just in the scenes, but in the way they looked at each other, the way they laughed between takes, the way they celebrated birthdays, holidays, milestones. The crew knew everyone's coffee order. The actors brought homemade food. And at the end of the day, they didn't just go home. They lingered because they didn't want to leave. I've talked to fans who visited the Big Sky Ranch and said, you can still feel the love there. And I believe that. Because when a group of people spend 9 years building a world together, raising kids, facing storms, celebrating small joys, something sacred happens. They create a home, and that's what Walnut Grove was. Not just a set, but a place where real bonds were formed, where laughter echoed, where tears were shared, and where, for a while, they got to live a simpler life. And Karen Grassle, she was at the center of it. Not loud, not flashy, but steady. Like the hearth in the Ingalls cabin, always warm, always there. Now, let's talk about her legacy. Because Karen didn't just play a mother, she was a mother. To the cast, to the crew, to the fans, and she did it with grace. No ego, no need for attention, just quiet strength. And when the show ended, she didn't chase fame. She stepped back. She taught. She wrote. She lived, and she still speaks with honesty about her time on Little House. Not with bitterness, but with gratitude. She once said, I didn't just play a good woman. I got to be one, surrounded by people who believed in kindness. And that's the truth. Because Little House wasn't just a TV show, it was a choice. To believe in family, in love, in doing the right thing, even when no one was watching, and Karen Grassle lived that choice every single day. So, the next time, you see Caroline Ingalls smoothing her apron, calling the children to supper, or standing by Charles's side, don't just see an actress. see the woman behind her, the one who learned to ride a horse at 30, who laughed through pranks, who mothered a child not her own, in every way that mattered, who braved the cold, the cameras, the pressure, and never lost her calm. Karen Grassle. Not just Ma, but a quiet hero. And proof that the strongest people aren't always the loudest. Sometimes they're the ones who say, "I love you," with a look and mean it.